One of them wanted to be the security guy. He claimed he was a security guy.
Welcome to Security Guy Radio, sir. What's your name?
Thank you. This is George Siegel. I'm Director of Product Management at IDV Solutions.
What does IDV Solutions do?
Yeah, IDV Solutions makes command center software, and we help organizations with a problem that many face, which is they have a lot of data, but they don't know where their people are really, they don't know where their assets are, and they don't understand all the risks to those people and assets. And fundamentally, that's the problem we help solve for them is, where are my people and how can I protect them?
Interesting. Now, there's a lot of little apps for components of this. Each aspect, there's a travel app. I know that my guy's on a plane and he's going somewhere. There's a security app for in country, right? Let's evaluate that country. But I'm looking at this screen, you've got everything on here. I mean, you're feeding
absolutely.
all data to one spot and it's visual. How many feeds you got going on in here?
Yeah, great question. Actually, all those individual apps are kind of part of the problem, right? You can go into some command centers and you might see a wall of 2x10 monitors, so 20 different screens, and they all have different information
for each
on
feed.
it.
That's
for
right.
each feed, you could have weather on the weather channel on one. You might have CNN, BBC. You might have incident management. You might have social media. And people really just can't process all that.
No,
it's
always,
impossible.
You know, I used to work at the studios, and we had like 250 cameras in one building, and they expected our guards to watch those. You can't.
Yeah, not possible.
Not possible. It looks good. It's a good visual.
It does. it does look good. It looks impressive, but when it comes right down to it, it's a problem that it's not unlike being in a cockpit of a jet aircraft. And why they came up with heads-up displays.
Yep.
You need everything in one place in your vision, and you can't be trying to associate all this information.
So like most brilliant ideas, it's simple. Not simple to make, I'm not saying that. Not simple technically, but the concept is brilliant and simple. It's one place. So walk me through this and show me what we're looking at here.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So again, product is Visual Command Center. You'll typically find this the software running in a global security operations center or some other type of command center that has a mission of protecting people, maybe protecting assets.
Right, large corporations.
Yeah, large corporations. It could be protecting a supply chain, ensuring that business continues and that we don't have disruptions that can cause a manufacturing plant to have to shut down,
trucking
or
company,
something like that.
Right?
Absolutely.
You know who the biggest trucker in America is? Walmart.
Walmart, yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah,
Second to Schneider, who works for Walmart.
Sure, yeah,
it's amazing.
absolutely.
1,500 trucks in their center up in Chicago a day. It's
amazing
crazy.
operation.
This could help that kind of operation.
This could potentially help that kind of operation, yeah. And so, to go back to the point about the manufacturing, to shut down a line, because they have things like adhesives and paint and work in process, that can be $1 to $2 million to shut down a line. And so you really want to understand what's going on, not just in your building, but around you. And those are things like weather, those are things like terrorism, hazardous materials. And you asked about how many different feeds. The answer is I don't actually know, because it changes all the time, and you can, it's very flexible.
Scalable.
Because you can add that.
Yeah.
You can add in different feeds. If you have a source of information, that's something that we can bring in and help you visualize. And then to put a point on it, what we do is we help cut through all that noise. You want to know about the stuff that's happening near your plant. You don't want to know about something maybe 100 miles away that is not going to affect your assets at all. And so that's what Visual Command Center does. It helps you show relevance to your organization.
In a world event. Now, let me ask you that. All right, so let's say, let's take Florida, and because we're looking at Florida here on the map, it's nice and close to look at. And locally, I need to know things about weather, obviously. Maybe something that's going on in Cuba, that's a problem. Crime patterns. What else could we put in there? Civil unrest, maybe people, social media. Somebody starts tweeting that we're going to have a big car rally and block all the traffic, right? That's useful locally. My theory on security is this: all security is personal, all security is local, and all security is now. In other words, you can't say, oh, there might be a security threat. Well, deal with it now. We don't, and if it's a future threat, deal with it now, right? So I could see this working very good on a local level, but let's say there's a world event. Can I feed the world event into this view? In other words, I'm focusing on Florida, but I really want to know if there's something goes haywire in Iraq tomorrow, and I'm too busy at the convention here today, and I'm not paying attention to the news. Can I feed that kind of thing into my profile? And what's it going to do? Is it going to change my map to say, look, go over here, now look at this, or what?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we would say that no two organizations are different. Their missions are different. The profiles of where their people are, where their assets are different, and therefore they need a very flexible and scalable solution to go back to that point.
Right.
And so what we do is we try and connect to the best of data sources. And so you mentioned social media. That's a great example. So we work with our partners who have expertise in social media or expertise in activism to bring that information on. So we're not the gatherers of that information. They are. They're
Right.
number one at it.
You're
And
pulling the feeds in.
we're pulling the feeds in
Right.
from them. We're visualizing it, and again, when we see one of those, let's say it's a social media event or an activism event near an asset, that's when we'll generate the alert for you and put it right in your face. We'll put it on the map so that you can assess it and take some action on it.
So give me an idea of pricing, and here's what I'm thinking. And you don't have to give me a quote because we're not holding security guy ready to quotes, okay? But there's a company called Geophidia. They monitor social media, and they can do a map like this and show you what's going on. I have to subscribe to Geophidia.
Yeah.
You have a subscription to somebody like that, and now that becomes part of my subscription. Is that kind of the idea? So I don't have to subscribe to 25 different things. You're going to help me make those data connections.
Absolutely.
Okay.
In some cases, we have done that for you. And so, for example, we're looking right now at the National Hurricane Center forecast for Joaquin. That's going to be looking like it's going to come up the eastern seaboard here in the next few days.
That's real. That's a real.
Real time. Yep, that's a real forecast, and that's
nasty
real time. And this is the forecast, and it's showing us the path.
Right.
And showing us what it's going to look like 93 hours out, 117 hours out.
Wow.
And then this red area is the area in that actually the center could be located. So
Right.
they give us the forecast path, but they also say that, well, maybe the forecast center is going to be out here. Well, we have organizations that are very, very averse to hurricanes, and so there are specialist providers like, I'll give you an example, hurricanemapping.com. And we have a relationship with them, and we've actually built an extension or connection to them, and we can bring that in instead of this one because some people want to know where are all the wind fields, and very detailed information
Right.
because that could be relevant for their organization. And in that case, you can come to us and we can just kind of pass it through. With a case like Geophidia, you can get a subscription from Geophidia, and they're one of our partners. They are really experts at social media visualization, and so we have a feed built right in, and it's very, very easy to turn on. So
good. All right.
It's a perfect example of the kind of thing we like to do: work with the people who are best at their industry.
One thing we were talking about at the show today with a lot of providers is integration. And integration doesn't really apply to this. I'm trying to think of security concerns I would have. In other words, if somebody got into my network and found I had this subscription, you know what? It's not internal data. No, it's what I do. It's how I protect my assets, but it's not classified data. It's not. Well, I guess you could put employee data in there, couldn't you?
Yeah, people do put employee data there.
So let's talk about that because if I'm in a hospital, I got HIPAA, right?
Sure.
And if I'm a studio, I have movie stars, right? So how does your software help protect that feed, right?
Yeah, there are multiple ways to do that. Some organizations, if you want to, for example, connect to an employee database, absolutely.
Like SAP?
You could connect Visual Command Center and get an extract, if you will, or an export, bring it in. But you might have information that certain people in the command center might need to know. Like if there's an employee with a health issue that in the case of a hurricane, we'll just take that. Maybe they're going to take some more time to evacuate because they have a disability, or maybe they need to have life preserving medication on their person at all times.
Right.
Those are things you probably want to know about if that's your mission of protecting your people.
Now with the software, take my SAP data, my HR data, and take it as it is, and you convert it into a display.
Yeah.
Or can I add to your software and say, you know what, I want to update my software and create an employee profile.
Yeah.
does the original data have to be updated for you to,
Yeah.
to pull it in?
So we can take that original data, and going back to my point about that private data, you could shield that data from the people who don't need to see it. You
internally?
Yeah,
the viewers?
internally.
Oh, okay,
so
that's good.
You could give privileges to some people to see that data, and for other people, their role may mean they don't have any need to know.
I'm thinking of
And
the
so you
data
could
center
turn that off.
and the dispatcher,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's a lower level position,
Yeah.
basic monitoring, and maybe they really shouldn't be seeing that security guy radio was on narcolepsy meds or something, right? So
Sure.
if you can filter that out, that'd be great. But it could say, red flag could come up that says he has a medical condition.
Yeah.
Call HR. Something
Yeah,
like that. Oh,
yeah,
that's great.
exactly. Yeah, there are ways to do that, and that's not uncommon for us to need to work with an organization to show, again, just the appropriate level of information that they need.
So years ago, there's a company called Groove, and they made a point-to-point connection. So I could connect to, the studio in London, and it was all encrypted, and I could share files and all this kind of stuff. Is this shareable? So if I have a subscription for my corporation in Burbank, and we have a business in France, I'm not using the same view because France is different than Burbank, right? But am I going to need two subscriptions, two databases, two data fields, two tables, or is it kind of still globally in one place?
Yeah, still globally, and I'll zoom out so that you can see the world. It's not uncommon for organizations that we work with to really have global operations.
Sure, a lot of places.
Yeah, a lot of them tend to be located in the United States, but as we can see from the representation on the map here, we're showing people all over the world, we're showing buildings all over the world, we're showing risk events happening all over the world.
Oh yeah, we have a little person icon.
Yep, and some of those are travelers, some of
Yeah.
those might be employees from the field team. So it really is a global solution, and so to your question, do I need a different one for France? The way we typically work is you get a package that's part of the subscription,
Right.
and that encompasses enough people to have this running in multiple operation centers. And again, that's fairly typical for an organization to have multiple operation centers so that they could share the load or fail over if there's a reason, if the power is out in their main command center, they can go off site and have access to everything you see here securely.
So Pierre in France could zoom out like you just did, and he could go over here and snoop around in Burbank and see what's going on if he wanted to.
If he wanted to.
But can we
But
also
that could
lock
also
him
be
out?
shielded, yes.
Excellent. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's great.
Yeah.
What's this stuff down here?
Yeah, this is a timeline. It's important not just that you know where people are or where events are, but that you also understand when they are. A good example is the hurricane is forecast to come up the East Coast, and we can bring in travel information. And again, we're looking for the intersection of, is that hurricane going to be affecting where the person is? Well, it's also important to know when that person is there. You wouldn't want to generate an alert if they're long gone.
Oh, right.
So that's the kind of thing we can do with the timeline. We want to understand where and when things are occurring, and that's really the basis of the alerting. Yeah.
So I can see Microsoft using this, CNN using this, big studios, big operations. What would a smallest client be? Is it cost effective for a smaller client? If that does, they got some assets, but you could be a client that's physically small, but you're a jewelry business that has $500 million in gold somewhere, right?
Sure.
I mean, how scalable down? I mean, who would be the smallest type of user of this kind of thing?
Yeah,
I'd like to get this, frankly.
It's a great
This is
question.
great.
I think it really depends on the value, and the size of the organization really helps get a lot of value because it is global, and you have global operations. If it's something that's really, really important for you to protect and it's high value, that would be something that the organization would look at and decide.
Is it a monthly subscription? Is it a per user, or how's the
annual subscription?
Just one-time annual subscription.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it's modular, as I said. So all of these different feeds that we were looking at before, there are ones like the hurricanemapping.com that you can add on. There's connections.
What's it come with? It's like you're buying a car.
Yeah.
What do you got in there for?
How long do you have? It'd take a little while to go through.
I mean,
that.
you got like 50, not what, but you got like 50 default feeds or something like that.
It'd be hard for me to put a number on it because it depends on how I slice and dice it. So in terms of weather, we have more than 36 different forecasts and current conditions in weather alone.
It's not just the Weather Channel. It's
not just the weather.
Oh, okay, all right.
So
that's a
we
lot.
can visualize things like the radar, precipitation, from the National Weather Service alerting. There's about 50 different categories of alerting. So it's how you count it,
Yeah.
but it's hard to quantify the number, and it's really open-ended because you can add things on top of that.
This is a weird question. So any military applications?
There
Users?
can be.
All right.
Yeah, there can
Well,
be.
you wouldn't tell me if you get to kill me, I get
yeah.
that. But are you restricted from selling it outside the U.S.? Because this is high intelligence, right?
Yeah, we have sold this outside the United States.
laws
so we're
on that
not,
kind of
we're
thing.
not,
All right.
yeah, it's not subject to export restrictions.
All right.
And, you know, we're very proud of our record. We work with a lot of big organizations. You mentioned a couple of their names before. We protect, you know, we protect their operations. We protect some important people, some important places in the world, and we're very proud of that record.
George, this has been fascinating. I told you off air, I kind of pitched this once to a studio, and they said, this can't be done. And I said, no, you don't know how to do it. But technology has caught up with the visions on things. And this is my favorite, as is product.
Well, thank you so much.
I've done 20 of them. I had one that was my favorite.
I really appreciate that.
Half hour ago, and this is the favorite one.
That is great to hear.
Well,
and
good luck to you.
our developers work very hard, and we appreciate all their late nights
Yeah.
and the coffee and the Mountain Dew, and so that's great to hear. Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for coming on the show.
Thank
All
you.
right, bye. Welcome to Security Guy Radio. What's your name?
Thank you very much. I'm Alex Dorden with
Your name,
Siklu.
sir?
Lee Coffey with Data Gear.
So, what does Siklu do?
We're a wireless company, so we manufacture wireless point-to-point radios in the millimeter wave space.
Distinguish radio from the Wi-Fi. That's different than the Wi-Fi signal.
Right, we're very much point-to-point, and we say we're like fiber-like wireless, if you like. So we're an augmentation to an extension, if you like, of a fiber network. So if a customer wants to run data from point A and point B, they don't have fiber.
Right.
One option, an alternative, if you like, of extending the fiber is to use wireless.
Okay.
And we provide that capability with our wireless communication and providing the same type of performance that they'd expect from a fiber link.
The same performance.
Right, in terms of capacity,
Right.
speed, reliability, in terms of availability as fiber.
Now, is that really more of a commercial application for cities and things? And you know, my kids aren't getting on Facebook with this thing, but if they did, they would be like on steroids, right?
It's someone who wants high capacity, typically speaking. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, so we do up to 2 gigabits per second, so it's pretty high capacity.
I need that in my house. Editing these videos takes a long time. It takes 4 hours to upload something to YouTube.
Right. Well, certainly gigabit to the home is one market we're actually, you know, involved in as well. But also, you know, there's the commercial, industrial, you know, government. You mentioned
Right.
public safety is also a very large market for us. You know, video surveillance in cities, for example, where they do need the capacity.
Now, I wondered about that. So, you know, I live in Burbank, right? We have a pretty good Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi for Burbank, right? But that's not really robust. This is completely different. I mean, this is going to keep infrastructure running at this level, whereas a typical Wi-Fi in the restaurant's not anything like this.
Right. I mean, the big difference is typical Wi-Fi in a restaurant doesn't need the same level of availability and reliability as the Wi-Fi
Right.
we do. Because with the Wi-Fi we do, we're more of an infrastructure provider, if you like.
And how do you keep it so robust? What distinguishes this staying up and maintaining high levels from a typical network?
Yeah, the key thing is the frequency that we run in, if you like, the frequencies that we use, which is not typical. Your typical Wi-Fi or your cellular is a sub-6 gigahertz frequency. So we play in the what's called the millimeter wave frequencies, which are 60, 70, and 80 gigahertz. And these are completely underutilized and they're congestion free. So you're not going to get any problems with interference or wireless connections dropping because of interference from other wireless
I'm glad
networks.
you used the word congestion. I got my GoPro. We talked about this, right? When I go in a public area, I can't, and I'm 3 inches from my phone, so I can see my image on my phone from my GoPro. It picks up other signals and chokes and says I'm not going to work and it gets temperamental, right? What is the problem in congestion? Are we at that point now where, you know, we don't have much bandwidth, we don't have much storage, we're growing so fast that it's hard to keep up with that? That's what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very typical situation in a city, urban kind of environment where there's a lot of wireless communications going on, wireless networks, and a lot of them are interfering with each other. So you may have a connection today, but tomorrow you may not have it. You know, you may have a connection today, you don't have a control of what's going in tomorrow, and could disrupt your wireless network. Now, because we operate at a high frequency, the 60, 70, 80 gigahertz. No one is operating at that frequency, at least not in the Wi-Fi area. So we don't have any problems with someone else coming in and interfering with our wireless, if you like.
So why aren't they operating at that level? Let me ask you this. Let me boil it down to something more mundane, because you use the word radio, right? So could we think of a radio station that has, station 10 over here and station 1090 on the left, and there's that range of frequencies for radios that allow you to have micro adjustments on your dial to pick up those stations, right? Have we just started at the lower bandwidths and the lower frequencies for Wi-Fi, and now there's things at the mega level that other people could use, and you guys just said, hey, why don't we do it? And you're taking lead on that, it sounds like.
Yeah. So the main reason is millimeter wave wireless. The technology we operate in is very directional. It's very narrow beams. It's not designed to be kind of like wide radio disbursement that you need with Wi-Fi, because obviously you have multiple users. Which is why we call it fiber-like wireless, because it is point to point. It's very directional.
Okay, that's interesting. Now back when I was at the studio, I thought we used a microwave transmitter to send these beams and connections and things when we need it. Is that old technology? That's how they used to do it?
Yeah, that's how. I mean, it's still prevalent today. There's a lot of those types of systems around. The problem with a lot of the microwave technologies, the licenses are quite expensive. There's one, disadvantage, if you like. They're also quite large and heavy, so very bulky.
Right.
And not very aesthetically pleasing, particularly in like an urban environment where it needs to blend into the surroundings. The millimeter wave technology, because of the type of technology is that we use, is very small form factor. So it's aesthetically is not displeasing, and it fits in very well into the urban environment.
It makes a nice finch perch, because that's how big it is. That's actual size.
That's right. That is an
amazing.
actual size up there. It's roughly 6 inch by 6 inches diameter. Actually, this is larger than real life.
Yeah. That's amazing, and that'll handle what kind of capacity? So, but if you could, for a viewer that doesn't understand some of this stuff, I might be one of them, by the way, what would that small little box be able to handle as far as an application, a network? It would be 100 computers at the corporation. What would that do?
Right, so this is 60 gigahertz radio, which is license free, so there's no license required.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, which it makes it a lot easier from a deployment point of view. And it's actually a gigabit per second radio, half duplex, which basically means a gigabit aggregated, so you can send and transmit up to a gigabit, worth of data in terms of speed.
What application might that be used in? You don't have to mention company names, but maybe a type of company.
I mean, applications can be like video surveillance, security cameras, for example. But not only that, I mean, you could put any kind of IP data over it. I mean, it's really an extension to your IP network.
Oh,
so it could be, it could be internet, it could be local area network,
right?
Other types of security access control, whatever you want to put on there. It's basically transparent pipe, so you can run multiple things over there as well, including Wi-Fi.
Now, are you the manufacturer?
Correct. Yeah, we were the manufacturer,
inventor, the designer, and that's
yeah. We do all the engineering, the manufacturing, etc. And we work with companies like Data Gear, one of our integrators, to actually deploy the systems, with the end user.
So, Mr. Data Gear, let's talk about integration.
You asked me in just a couple of words to sum up everything we do, right?
I think you can. You have that background. It's funny. I've been talking to everybody today, and integration has come up in every single interview, right? So, when we had the tin can on the wire, that was kind of great in a way, because you couldn't compromise everybody's tin can of wire. They were separated. They were, not put together. And there's an advantage to being on a network. But when you integrate my SAP and my HR and my video and my access control systems, and now it's on one network, and I'm the bad guy hacker, that's a problem, right? Because if you compromise that, you're compromising the whole thing. So I talk to manufacturers who say, once I ship my camera and I put my password 01 password on it, that's not my problem anymore. The integrator now has to figure out, and the integrator knows this, how to change the password on the camera, let's say, right? But then when he leaves, if he doesn't maintain the relationship with the client's not going to change that password. They're going to forget about it. Things happen. Things go down. So integration, and the person now that's integrator is really more important than the sales guy. It's stepped into a different role, I think, because my sales guy doesn't know the technology, and my integrator leaves, and he's not telling me to keep maintaining the system and upgrades and check it. Everything's going to fall apart eventually. So tell us why this type of technology is so specific for an integrator, and what type of integrator needs to know about it.
Well, this is very specific because it's unique in what it does. It's the amount of data it'll move through it, the bandwidth, and to a certain degree the package size. So you're taking that giant microwave dish that you see on top of the mountaintop,
Right.
and you shrunk it down into this little guy here, where now you can put this on light pole someplace, and you can move the data through that, back and forth. So to quantify what this is doing, this would be like having 10 Starbucks full of people on one side, taking that data, moving it through the air to someplace else, to the backbone of the internet.
Right.
So that's what this product is doing. It's doing it securely. It's got a small package, and it's unique. We chose them because they're unique in what they do. There's nothing else like this out there. And as far as the security part of it, that's the other thing. We're doing a lot with high security areas like ports, rails, that type of stuff.
I'm glad to hear that because I've been to some ports doing security checks and I'm a little bit disappointed
Oh,
in,
don't say
in what's
that.
going on.
Don't
not
say
your
that.
port, I'm sure. I'm sure it's not your port.
Well, it's a growing thing too.
Yeah, it's
Things are
always moving around. and
constantly
changing.
changing.
Yeah.
Ports are unique. Whether you could be doing a port on the East Coast, it could be self-contained, where you've got to go through a front gate and everything's behind it. A lot of the ports here, they kind of meander in and out of towns and cities and stuff. So it's very difficult
And then the
to
Coast
do.
Guard has a different standard for each particular business inside the port, because if you can't afford this, then you don't have to have it.
You don't have to, but they're really well knit together. I mean, one
Yeah.
of the things they are doing, if you've been to some of these things, they're learning how to move information back and forth to each other, exchange information, and work together. And again, that's what this does, whether it be video surveillance, whether it be physical surveillance, opening gates, closing gates, sensors that are out there that are detecting people that shouldn't be there, or vehicles that shouldn't be there. All this stuff sucks up a lot of data.
Yep, right.
And it has to be reliable. That's the other thing. Being a telegrade type of equipment there, it has to be reliable. And as we all know, the worst things happen at the worst times.
Right.
And this stuff just works, and it has to be that way. And that's
So
the unique
since this is
thing.
a brand new product and it's really, it's an innovation, really.
Right.
Your integrators are you kind of like a distributor in a way?
And we're a true integrator in which, I guess you asked me, what do? We make that work. Simple as that.
Right.
You get that, go make it work.
But
Make
since
it
it's
do
so
whatever.
unique, you have to have specific integrators. Oh, that's interesting.
They're kicking us
Oh,
out.
well, that's all right. That's all right.
That's
It'll be
okay.
the first time I got kicked out of a place. So I'm just trying to figure out
Not
the
even
process.
drinking.
I mean, typically I have here's a manufacturer, then you got a sales rep that goes out and sells things, and the sales guy sells it to the end user, and the end user says, how do I make this whole thing work? And they call it the local camera guy, and he puts it in, and he leaves, and you never see him again, right?
Exactly.
Can't do that anymore. Everything's different now. You have to have a different process. I was kind of wondering what that step process is.
It's a very special skill set. I mean, this is
Right.
very technical equipment. You also have to have a sense of this. I mean, you kind of hit it on the head when you said, this is a radio. Yeah, this is a radio. It works just like radios have worked since
Right.
Marconi invented this stuff. But there's very specifics on it. Very unique things to it. The security levels, how to set it up, how to integrate it into the existing system. There's multitudes of security packages out there. So it is quite unique, and you've got to do that, or it's a worthless piece of metal.
Now, how new is this?
This particular product here that we're referring to is about a year old, so it's fairly new in terms of products like technology. Siklu has been around as a company for around 7 years.
7, okay.
7, yeah. Our initial products were 70, 80 gigahertz, which are longer range. They have a range of roughly up to about 2 miles. And those products we're still developing and very strong and providing particularly backhaul type of communication. Right. And now we're actually sending up to 2 gigabits per second in terms of data, in terms of capacity with
What's
those
the range on
radios.
this, the newest stuff?
This is designed as a kind of a short haul radio, an edge-based radio. So this is around a third of a mile. So it's designed for like city surveillance type thing.
Yeah, or corporate environment,
building
maybe
to
big
building.
campus.
Yeah, building
Yeah.
campus kind of thing where parking lots, things like that. So more of an edge-based product, if you like.
Amusement parks.
Right, anything like that.
Hundreds of
really.
cameras, right?
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
yeah.
All right, so I was talking to another integrator about that issue where there was 400 cameras on the system. And when they went through it, this place was so old, been around so long, that they had a Pelco PTZ from 1984, and they had Vivotech's brand new, pinhole 360 camera, like kind of thing. But they were able to, with their it's a management system for video, right?
Yep.
They wrote to hook those all together, make them work with the software using the proper driver manufactured by the camera, right? And so they have a driver. What did he call it? Not the default driver. It was like the open source driver.
Yeah,
cameras make
there's an
drivers
industry
like that.
standard for cameras.
There you go, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was amazed that they could wire an old camera together with a brand new camera and kind of make it all work.
You take the analog output, you go to an IP, then you plug it in the network. But what you're missing on that whole story is the quality of the video. I mean, you go to a lot of places that have been around for a long time, and the video you're getting is like watching I Love Lucy.
Yeah.
I mean, and you can't get any more throughput through it because of the backbone. When you go to something like this, it allows you to get the throughput through, which gives you higher resolution, more frames per second.
Even on an older camera, it improves it.
Yes, you can.
Yeah,
You can turn it up as high as you can. There's only so much you can do,
Right.
but you got to have enough throughput to get that through to start doing things, whether it be facial recognition, license plate recognition. You're not going to do that by running very low speed. And a lot of these places that seem to be sophisticated from the outside, you go behind them, and that's what you got. Someone looks like I Love Lucy.
I see that a lot. It's interesting. When I design stuff for the campus environments, they always pick a camera up in the corner, right? And they shoot it down, so I know who's bald. If they're tall, I can see the bald spots, and I get a little pinhead. It's useless in court, right? So I'm giving you my cop perspective. That is useless to identify somebody in court. And by the way, I just happen to know my laptop's stolen because it's not here. So I don't need a picture of you walking out the door that I can't identify. And I went to a door camera, it was right at the light switch level, and when you walked out your head, filled up the whole camera. But it's amazing. And those were the installers, right? Those guys weren't integrators.
They don't
They
care.
want a they don't care. They want a camera stuck in there, and they're going to send you the bill, and that's the deal, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I sit down and talk to him. I said, my thing is, what you're going to get is a guy who's about 5'5" in a gray hoodie and baggy pants.
That's true.
That's
Yeah.
what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And you're going to get enough video just to be able to watch it back and forth and piss yourself off. Because you saw that guy
That's
break
what
into my
happens.
building, whatever.
That's right.
But there's nothing, unless you can get a face and a license plate, it is worthless.
Right. Now, how do you clear integrators? This is a very specific product, specific application. They got to go to Siklu school and get cleared and standardized and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, one of the nice things about this product as well, to be honest, it is very easy to install. You know, it doesn't, need a lot of technical ability. I mean,
Well,
you
the
do need
physical
to be-
side I get it, but then there's the,
Yeah.
behind
I mean,
the scenes,
you
the
do
IP
need to be,
address, all that stuff. Yeah.
Getting it into your customer system.
Right.
Yeah, you need to be a network engineer. You need to have the capability like data gear of being able to put a IP video network together. And, certainly not all integrators have that kind of.
Now, where are you
ability.
guys located?
Well, our U.S. office is in New Jersey.
A lot of stuff comes out of New Jersey with security. It's amazing. A lot of
You've been in
crime.
Jersey?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
We've been in
The
Jersey.
company is based out of Israel. That's where our headquarters is.
Oh, interesting.
In terms of
Okay.
engineering and manufacturing, things like that. But
They
we
invented the
sell
smart card
globally.
back in the day.
Say that again.
They
sorry?
Israel, not Israel, the country, running people in there invented the little DirecTV smart card back in the day.
Oh,
That's
okay.
where that technology came from.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of technology.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff
comes
comes out of there. Yeah.
But we sell globally.
Yeah.
We got partners, distributors all around the world. Security is obviously one of our key growth markets, as well as gigabit to the home. We're very strong in the telecommunications market, and we really see a big demand for this type of technology in video surveillance because we talked about the capacity,
Right.
the uncongestion.
Now, a
side.
large, a billionaire estate might have this kind of stuff too. They would use that kind of thing.
Right,
in terms of
exactly.
business here. What's an entry point on something like this for price?
From a price point of view,
Yeah.
In terms of MSRP, prices range from around $4,500 up to about $10,000.
It seems pretty reasonable.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, from a throughput point of view, capability, and from a reliability capability. I mean, if you're comparing it, what else is out there, if you like.
Right.
It's a very good price point. And also from a total cost of ownership point of view, and the reliability is extremely high. It's a very good value for money.
Any military applications?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we do work in that kind of area, if you like. Obviously, can't go into
That's all you need to
particular
say.
details.
That kind of area. That's right. That's all I want to know.
Yeah.
And where's Data Gear located?
Santa Ana, California.
Santa Ana.
Lovely Santa Ana, California.
Well, it is a lovely.
It is. It is.
That'd be
Come
nice
down
to-
and see us sometime.
Oh, I try to drive through there as fast as I can, actually. But no, I actually interviewed the chief of the school district down there. Super smart guy. The Santa Ana School District Police. Super smart guy. Yeah, I'll hook you up
Putting
to
a
see
lot
him.
of money into the high schools and stuff.
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I'm just kidding. It's just LA. Everybody in LA is the same. It's cool. All right, well, guys, thanks for coming. It's really been interesting. I think this is really, really fascinating stuff, And I'm going to get this out of my show, and I'll send you the link, and let's go sell it.
Great, we appreciate
really
it,
cool.
Chuck. Thank you very much.
And when I get $4,000, I'm going to put one in my house because my goddamn AT&T internet never works. I got to tell you. All right, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Welcome to Security Guy Radio. What's your name?
Hey, I'm Gerald Becker, Chief Product Officer for NDVision.
What does NDVision do?
Yeah, so NDVision solves a very specific problem, and I'm going to explain to you exactly what NDVision is. About a year ago, we had a customer of ours present a specific problem to us in regards to migrating his existing analog cameras to IP. He was doing about 8 cameras per store, and he had thousands of locations. And in order for him to be able to migrate those analog cameras to his new enterprise platform, he had to use what's basically used in the industry quite often, which is analog camera to an encoder to a switch, and then finally back to a server.
Right.
Obviously, a lot of points of failure and complexity when you go into the installation. You start scaling that size of volume of stores, trying to get consistency in the field with installation.
You
is
had thousands of stores and 8 cameras a store.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. So 1,000 locations, 8 cameras per store, and obviously when you start dealing with that volume of stores, getting the consistency in the installer base out there, it's kind of all over the place. You know, some guys can do a great job of installing it within a couple hours, 3-4 hours, and then there's guys that potentially could take a whole day, 6-7 hours just to get it done. So what he had asked me is, you know, Gerald, is there a way to potentially do all of the encoding internal to the server that has the video management software running on? I said, well, yeah, that's a hybrid platform, right? There's plenty of them out there. He's all, yeah, that's right, Gerald. It is a hybrid platform, but are there any hybrids out there that allow me to put any VMS that I want, be able to talk with that VMS without being in a proprietary format, so on and so forth? He said, I can get manufacturer product A and say, can I put this manufacturer's product on it and have it work? Well, no, there's nothing out there that allows them to do that. So that's where NDVision came from, is basically new digital vision in what this platform can do. So what we've created is an open architecture video appliance.
Open architecture, okay.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So what we've created is a server with embedded encoding inside of the server that allows our customers to be able to pick whatever VMS they want and eliminate all the different devices in between.
Wow.
So what we've created is basically this hybrid solution that now allows them to pick what VMS that they want. So as you can see down here, we have one flavor of a VMS, different flavor of VMS over here, and another one over here. And we support various video management platforms out there. So what we're giving our customer base is the ability to now pick the future, pick what VMS, pick the software that they want without constraining them to that proprietary nature.
Is that fairly unique in the business?
It is. So right now, NDVision is the only security appliance out there that allows our customer base to pick and choose and give them the freedom to do what they want with their security server.
Wow. Got a patent on it?
Absolutely. We've definitely got some IP already in the works.
I figured you did. Just
Yes.
double checking. All right.
Absolutely.
Now, who is going to use this application?
Yeah, so there is a very specific market that we're targeting with this product. So as you start to see the infrastructure out there as it pertains to video, we still see that predominantly still a lot of analog cameras out there.
Somebody told me at IC West in Vegas, right, that analog last year still outsold IP.
Yeah.
And I think this year IP is going to go forward. I find that unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's not really priced. I mean, a digital camera is not expensive anymore. Why do people still go with the analog?
That's a great question, right? So it's the infrastructure, right?
Oh, if
so,
they have existing analog, they're going to augment it and not replace it. Maybe that's why.
A couple things, right? So there's a lot of clientele that are currently buying analog and they want to go ahead and make the jump to IP. But in order for them to go completely IP, they either have to forklift and retrofit all that existing equipment, but they may not have the budget to go ahead and do that, right?
Right.
So their next best choice is to start off slowly. Go with the encoder, go with the switch, and then get it in. But that's going to take a long time.
Well, and the cost might be close to putting a whole new system in it because you're installing 3 different things, right? I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's our niche market right there, is going after the clients that want to start taking advantage of these new enterprise feature sets that these VMS allow them to do, but at a fraction of the cost. But not only that, at a fraction of the labor cost to put these in.
It's all about the labor, right?
Exactly.
Cameras have come down pretty cheap now, right?
Yeah,
But the guy that puts them in, he's not any cheaper. And he might be more expensive, actually. Just
you
depends
hit
the
that
market.
on the head, right?
Yeah.
So it may be, it may cost you so much amount of money to get one contractor to do it, but I mean, at the end of the day, when you got multiple devices to put in, that starts to add up.
So let's talk about the quality.
Yep.
Compromise?
Yep.
Is it converting the quality over just as good if it goes from analog to digital?
It's literally an encoder.
Is it at least as good as what you were looking at on analog?
Yeah, so
Which
what
could
we're,
be bad.
What we're getting out of this, we got D1 quality out of our current encoders, and then we're also going to be doing HD analog as well. So you'll be getting up to 720p on those.
From an analog signal?
Yes.
Oh.
So that's HD analog, right?
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool. Now, the tape decks go away then?
I'm sorry?
The tapes, the old-fashioned tapes that they have still, and they're 25 burl tape decks, they got to change tapes, everything, that goes away
Yeah.
when you convert all this stuff, right?
Absolutely.
So there's a cost conversion there, though, because now I got to buy the digital decks,
Yeah,
but that's come down in price, too.
exactly.
Now, if you're converting from analog to digital, is it true digital, and does it, now you can stream it, now you can stick it up on your cloud, now you can do all kinds of things with it.
Yeah, so there's numerous ways of doing it, right? So what we're doing is we're getting the analog stream and we're encoding it into a digital format.
Right.
So that allows it to be ingested into various VMS platforms. And at that point, then you can start taking advantage of all the other different software-based analytics or feature sets that come in inherently with those VMS platforms.
What about the cloud? Do you recommend, because we're talking about this today, the cloud was a big thing. You're a lot younger than I am, and I have to whitehead or prove it. But back in the day, the computer that I had 2 floppy drives, right? That was no hard drive. And before that, terminals were dumb. Nothing got stored at the terminal at the office. That was in a big giant room with a whole bunch of servers, right? So the cloud is basically hierarchy storage management, which is what that was. But I hear people are kind of getting away from it now. Now the people are sketchy about it. No, the cloud, where's my data? Who's watching it? What do you hear about that in the industry?
Yeah, so my opinion on the cloud, I mean, there's various ways of going about the cloud. Obviously, the first foray into the cloud was pushing video directly to the cloud, and then there was obviously the issues that were related to it with bandwidth and security. But there's different ways of going about the cloud now, maybe potentially as just managing video of certain retention that needs to be put up there indefinitely, right?
Yeah, for archive, for insurance reasons.
Exactly.
And maybe if you compromise it, it's not the end of the world. It's a guy drinking coffee in your cafeteria, so what, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and the way it integrates with NDVision is basically what we do is we leverage the VMS partners. So like I said, we're not a VMS company.
Right.
We're a security appliance that allows our customer base to pick and choose what VMS that they want. So there may be a typical client-server architecture, or there may be cloud-based VMS partners out there that allow us to go ahead and leverage their architecture for that type of deployment. So if there's a VMS that supports cloud, great. We'll load the VMS cloud software on our system and be able to then transmit the video back up.
I come to this show a lot, and every year bumbling, maybe not the perfect word, but I stumble or bumble upon new stuff that nobody else is doing. And I know it's new because I always go to the small booths first, all right? This stuff is expensive. I don't care about these giant booths that cost $500,000. Those guys, Tyco, they're established, they're good, right? But the interesting stuff is down here. And when you contacted me, I thought, well, I'm going to do some research and find out who else is doing this so I know. No. And I'm thinking, how can nobody else be doing this, right? But there's always a first guy. And you're the first guy on this. This is fascinating. How did you get the idea for this?
So
it was a need, of course, but how did you technically work it all out?
Absolutely. So it's our mantra, right? So we listen, we create, and we solve problems. We listen to our customers' needs. So obviously, this isn't a product that we just came up out of thin air. This came from meeting with one of our customers and listening to a pain point that he had.
What were you doing before? Before specializing in this specifically, when that guy, the stores needed conversion, what were you doing for him before that?
Yeah, so the exact same thing, right? So our company at its core is an innovative company. We're always coming up with new ways to thwart criminal activity, how to automate processes using readily available technologies out in the industry, but applying a different twist that hasn't been done.
So this is one of your products?
This is one of numerous products.
And the brand new and the hot stuff. It's really good. All right, interesting. Integration. I like it and I hate it. Right? I like the tin can on the wire. I like the dumb terminal. Because if you want to steal my bank account with $35, go ahead. But if you get into that, and I also have my access control system or an HR system, and I have everything else on my network, Now my hacker has an easier job just to get in there and take everything.
Sure.
What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, there's always going to be issues with security, right? And it really comes down to the support that you have behind the scenes on the vendors that you choose with the product, right? How secure are the products that you're purchasing out there? It really comes up to the firewall that you're putting, the fences around the technology that you're putting in.
Well, also though the device. So cameras are a computer, for lack of a better word. If we want to dumb it down to, low-level stuff, it's a computer.
Sure.
And you plug it in, you have an IP address, and you're supposed to have a password on it, and manufacturers ship it with password 01.
Yep.
And I forgot the study I saw, and some guy had a website in Russia where most people don't change the password. And this guy in Russia was logging in and watching baby monitors and, people to Taco Bell, and he had access visually to all kinds of things.
Sure.
So manufacturers, rightfully so, set it up, give you recommendations, and integrator comes out and says you've got to change your password every week. People don't do it. Is there anything special on your device that has some encryption or password protection? Password protection's not as good as encryption, but something on the device itself that helps with that.
Yeah, so as it pertains to NDVision, the product, the video streams themselves are fully encrypted locally on the system, and then it's up to the end user to be able to provide a higher level of encryption on their different types of passwords, and then obviously putting through their safeguard in regards to
some hardware I'm seeing doesn't have that. Believe it or not. It's interesting. Well, you know that, I'm sure.
I'm very familiar with that, and I've seen a lot of manufacturers that actually deploy this in that manner just to go ahead and get the systems out. But what we do is we configure with certain security parameters out of the gate, certain username and password out of the box, right? And those are configured before we ship. But at the same token, we do recommend that our end users do put a complex security password into the system so that they're not dealing with these issues of getting anyone hacking into their product.
I see this as an industry problem, and I've talked to a couple of manufacturers that see it. Only a few of the manufacturers are actually passionate about that issue. And what they tell me is if you bring it up in the biz and you belong to NDVision or some of these organizations, you're not really welcome to come back to the table and talk about it, right?
Sure.
Explain to me from a layman's point of view, is it difficult to do?
No, not at all.
It's not that big a cost impact, right?
No, not at all.
Stick a chip on there and, say you have to get through our chip before it goes out to the password. I just wonder why they don't do it. Is it a standardization issue or what?
Yeah, it may be a commoditization of the product, they're manufacturing product by the thousands or whatever it is, and they're just trying to get them out the door. So you add another level of someone having to actually unbox a unit and put those security parameters before they go out.
Well, that could be. If you do 1 million of them, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to see you guys have that in yours.
We have the personal touch on every device that goes out.
What's the next greatest thing coming up in security, do you think?
Yeah, so NDVision, we got a lot of things on the pipeline with our product. Obviously, we're working for full integration with NDVision. We've got health monitoring in the cloud that we're going to be able to offer as a service to be able to actually monitor each device on a network and be able to get real-time statistics of the server itself, hardware internal to the server, and also connectivity uptime on the VMS platform rules or the Windows services that are running behind the scenes so that we can help IT administrators or security administrators of the system to have real-time analysis of what the system's doing to make sure that we keep that uptime as high as possible.
Oh, here it is. Yes. Well, we didn't make it, but that's okay. We're almost done. Bandwidth. I take analog, I convert it. Are people remembering they got to increase their storage?
Yeah.
Right? That could change your whole storage issue and bandwidth issue.
Sure.
All right, lady, are you done? Thanks a lot. Is it a significant increase when you convert the analog to a digital?
No, not at all.
Oh, really? Okay.
Not at all.
Now,
so
is that
there's
because there's a special compression algorithm or something?
So what we do with our system, we use H.264 compression on both streams. So we do dual streaming on each one of the camera streams. And that's the way that we've been able to keep the throughput down. The same token, our servers can manage a high amount of throughput on each of them. We have an i3 and i5 and i7 version of the system, go up to 150 MIPS per second.
Maybe you can put one of these on my GoPro.
Yeah.
Because every time I upload the damn thing, I lose all my memory. It's such high resolution. Drives me nuts. Thanks for coming on Security Guy Radio. Let's talk about your website again, NDVision.com.
NDVision.com.
And you're based out of where?
We are out of Southern California.
Oh, excellent. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
That was good.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Welcome to Security Guy Radio. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Steve Soares from Morse Watchman.
What does Morse Watchman do, Steve?
Morse Watchman is all about doing key management. We manage keys, we manage assets, we have some lockers that can contain any kind of object that you want to put in there and track and maintain any kind of control of.
Now, back in the day when I bought this at Fox in 96 or 7, a long time ago, right? It was keys,
Yeah.
and I like this asset thing. So you have little lockers inside this.
Yes, we do.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, you know.
Because now we need to store cell phones for the next guard coming out doing stuff.
Sure, cell phones. We have guards that maybe would store their equipment in these lockers. So when they come in, they take their wallet out of their pockets, their car keys, they put them in the locker. They take what was in the locker for their job out,
Right.
and they allow you to go ahead and do their job and secure their personal belongings.
Now, how long has Morse Watchman been around?
Morse Watchman's been around since the early 1990s, so we've been around for about 25 years.
Yeah, I think you're the leader in this, aren't you? You're the first ones that came up with this idea?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, on the last show, we talked a lot about how the keys work, and I think it's the best. I've seen other competitors. I think you guys have it down pat. Here's what I worry about now: integration.
Yes.
Right. Here's the problem. It's great that an IT guy or an HR person or security can log in and get into SAP, get into the access control system, get into the key watcher now, get into the radios, everything. But then so can the hacker. Right?
Sure.
So what I'm concerned about is, do we have a tin can and a wire solution, old school analog, that kind of bifurcates this stuff, that allows somebody not to get into everything all at once, the keys to the kingdom, so to speak? And how does Morse Watchman address that or handle that?
Well,
it's a little different than a camera, right? So you
yeah.
you sell a camera, you put it on the network, it's a computer, and then the manufacturer and installer say, see you later,
Yep.
right? But yours is different because you're constantly working
Yeah.
in the system.
Yeah, we do several things. All of our data that goes between our cabinets and our software and between any kind of integration with an access control system is all encrypted. We use AES 256 encryption with pre-shared keys that really secure the communication. So when we're transferring information from another access control system, we're protecting that information all the way down to our side.
Okay.
And quite frankly, it makes the system almost impossible to hack. And while things are never unhackable,
Right.
when you make it really, really difficult, people are going to try and do
So
something.
go to that other key place over there across the way.
Absolutely, yep.
Now, when you say it's on the network, what about the cloud? Do most of your clients keep this in-house and keep it on their servers?
Yeah, this product is more secure from that aspect because we don't get involved with the cloud.
Oh, good.
All of our equipment, all of our software, all runs internal to an existing network on their infrastructure behind their firewall.
Now, in theory, if I had a VPN connection set up by the corporation,
Yeah.
I could log in, I could release a key because my guard forgot his code or something like that.
Sure, absolutely.
But that's not how you build the network. You build the network to be internal and robust and encrypted and things like that.
Absolutely, yep.
So what are some challenges an IT guy has to install this?
Well, I think...
In other words, can they install it sloppily so it's not secure? You know what I'm saying?
No, there really isn't any way to do that.
Oh, that's good.
The
All right.
security of it is that we are on their network that is already secured, and our communications that is involved with our systems is all encrypted.
So if I plug this in, there's not a password default, it's password 01.
Well, we have a default password when you go and set it up the first time.
Well,
but,
now I'm only half
Yep.
kidding, right? Because
Sure.
that is
Yep.
the single point of failure in a
Yep.
way, right? So that no matter what we do, if the end user screws it up, it's not your fault.
Yep.
It's not Pelco's fault or Altronic's fault. It's the end user. And I've been asking this around. Are the developers looking at writing code or doing something that absolutely makes it mandatory that when they change this password that you ship, it has to be to your standard, which is going to be much higher.
Sure.
You know how you do the different letters, characters, all that kind of stuff. I'm just thinking I could see somebody say, well, I didn't read the manual. You didn't tell me I have to change it from password 01, so it's not my fault.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to sue everybody, right?
Yeah,
You guys ever thought about something like that?
Well, we actually have a way of getting around this. Every single key watcher touch system that we sell to a customer, we sell with a remote setup and software. installation. So we actually get on the phone with the customer before they ever take the thing out of the box.
Oh,
And we
you help
speak
them
with
set it up,
and
okay.
We help them set it up, and our techs make sure that these default codes are not left in place.
Okay, good. So now do you send installers out, or is it all done by themselves?
We have technicians, the same technicians that you would talk to, and you call into us. Those techs go out on site and can do on-site training and
But
service.
it's basically plug and play. If you have the specs for your wall, the construction guy
Sure.
plugs it in and bolts it in, you're good to go.
Yeah, the physical installation, that's easy, and that has to be done by the building
Right.
facilities guys, anyways.
You want to show me some bells and whistles on this thing?
Yeah, sure. So this is our 6-module system. It has all of our different types of modules in it. So we have a 16-key module, an 8-key module, and a 6-key module. We have these different modules, as you can see, for some of these bigger keys or key rings that might be in.
Yeah, like that's a
used
jail
in the
key. They
system.
still use those, yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And how many guys do you see walking around with a big ring or a big
Right.
ring of keys? They keys to every door in the building on one ring. So, makes it so that the system's a little easier to use, easier to see where a key is that you're looking for.
Is the glass door a standard installation, or is that just for display purposes here?
Well, we do have this offered. Standard, we do include a steel door that you can't see through. It's a nice thick steel door, nice and durable. We do have the glass doors here that have a nice plexiglass front on them so that it's durable. We have some customers that need to do visual counts of keys.
I
So-
kind of like that idea, yeah, but I feel more secure when a piece of, half-inch steel, but,
Sure.
but plexiglass, I mean, that's pretty strong.
Yeah,
You got
always tell
biometrics
customers.
going on now?
Oh yeah. We have a nice new optical reader. This works fantastic. Once a user is enrolled in the system, they simply hit the start button, put their finger right on. And in this case, George here is set up as an instant release user. And what that does is this is used for users that always have the same key.
Oh,
Take
that's
the
a
key
nice
out.
one single key, and boom, you got it, and
Yep,
you're done.
Nice and simple.
That's
and,
nice, yeah.
and away they go.
Now, only fingerprints?
We have card readers. We have card readers that we offer that are generic for HID cards or for magstripe cards. But if a customer has a custom
What
reader,
about iris, optical?
if it's got a WeGand output on it, we can connect it up.
I just saw a company over here that has one that reads from like 4 feet away. So
Yeah,
literally
wow.
they could walk up to the box and it would release
Yeah,
the
that's
key. That's
great.
kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that people have been freaked out about that for a while. So it's nice that they're coming up with technology.
Now, how about two-way authentication? I like the quick release, but two-way authentication seems to be necessary now.
Sure. Well, we can integrate with access control systems. So we have a couple ways we can do multi-user logons or create 2 factors of authentication. We can have a card reader here near the system that's hooked up to the access control system that will hit a contact in ours to actually activate the ability to log in directly to our system, and then that person could hit the fingerprint reader.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
So we have a 2-factor authentication there. We also have a multi-user feature that requires 2 people to log in to be able to even remove a key, or even 3 people.
Oh, so for the great Grand Master, you'd want that maybe the
Sure,
highest
yeah.
key level. Yeah.
Yeah, you might have the tech that needs a master key, and you want to make sure you have a security guard and a manager there also
Right.
to remove that key. Yep.
Oh, good. Excellent. Anything new on the horizon you want to share? The next product coming out?
One of the things we just added, actually, we have literally just released our version 171 for the KeyWatcher Touch system, and we added a key interlock feature, and it really serves 2 purposes. One way it serves is the lockout tagout. So if somebody pulls a key out that's an operational key for a piece of equipment, somebody has that operational key out, they can't take that maintenance key out, and vice versa.
Oh,
If
good. That's
somebody's
good.
working on the equipment, it prevents somebody from being able to operate it.
Great.
The other way it can be set up is mostly for the casino environment, where we don't allow certain keys to be out to a particular user. So if a user has a drop key out, they don't have access to the vault key to be able to access the cache.
Oh, that's
vault.
brilliant. That's good.
So-
Good management system. Excellent.
Absolutely.
All right. Good. Something else you want to show me on another?
Yeah, sure. If
Screen?
we want to go and move
Just
over
pick it
here
all
to
up and
the,
move it?
Yeah, so what we have here is this year we're displaying our integration modules. So we're actually integrated with Linnell OnGuard, Software House Secure 9000, and just recently we got ready to go with Honeywell ProWatch.
Oh, Linnell used to be real proprietary. That's a big deal if they're
Absolutely.
putting you on their system. Yeah.
Yep. So, what we've been finding is that users, they have all these different systems they need to manage to try and be able to add users into and remove users when they're terminated or they leave. So these integrations allow us to have a central point where these clients can access or manage all their users. So they add a user into their access control system, they can add a clearance, and that clearance can be picked up by our integration module and then brings that user down to our key watcher system, assigning out all their permissions to keys and everything.
That's great.
Yeah, so, for example, here I have a card here for a user. If I swipe it, you'll see there's no action. So and we even detect it. If I come in here and I go ahead and assign this user a credential or a clearance level.
That really makes it so much easier. I mean, back in the day, it was a DOS program when I started using it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we had to manually program it. And,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this, and it's fast. If I come in here and I add this clearance to the user, as soon as I hit save, you can see it added the user here.
Yeah. That used to take a piece of paper and a bunch of signatures and got to wait till the IT guy gets back to do.
Oh, yeah.
So this saves labor.
Oh,
Absolutely
it saves
labor.
a ton of labor.
Yeah.
They don't have to add a user into Secure. They don't need to add a user into our system. They don't need to add them into an HR system. All these systems are all integrated already, so now we're integrated. When I come over to this system here, I can now log in with this card, and I can choose if I want to remove a key or not.
So that was locked out about a minute ago, now we're active.
Oh, yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, it happens almost instantly.
Amazing.
So,
all right, excellent. Well, Steve, thanks for coming on Security Guy Radio. It's been a great show.
yeah, great. Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm glad you had me.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was good.